Saben, creo que es algo bastante notorio, el movimiento de Fortnite. ¿Qué pasó con el movimiento de Fortnite, Pucho? ¿Qué es lo que está mal? ¿Qué es lo que está bien? ¿Se va a quedar así para toda la temporada? Sí, en teoría sí. Hay un video Cientix que lo está explicando, está hablando más o menos, le he puesto subtítulos para que lo reaccionemos y opinemos también aparte. Así que, nada, no se olviden de suscribirse, dejar su like y lo veremos.
What is going on with the movement in Chapter 5? Everyone's talking about it, even to the point where the word movement went trending on Twitter. Every creator, every pro is weighing in on it, and I want to talk about what's going on. Is it actually a bug? Will Epic fix it? And is this as big of a deal as everyone's making it? Is this going to kill Chapter 5? In case you just haven't seen or you haven't played Chapter 5,
Sí.
let me catch you up. Fortnite made major changes to how characters move in Fortnite. They said they have improved motion matching and procedural layering, and as you can see here, they are very different. And when they announced this during the downtime and I looked at it, I was like, wow, I don't really like the look of it, but I get they're going for some kind of more realism vibe. They wanted to make it look a little bit better.
Nah, acá por ejemplo, cualquier persona que haya jugado el juego ahorita me puede confirmar y estoy totalmente seguro que nadie se siente cómodo con el movimiento. Y usualmente con ese tipo de cambios es bastante duro y bastante feo de afrontar. Porque es un cambio que nunca antes se ha hecho. Creo que lo máximo que tocaron de eso fue con el sprint y el de saltar. Y eso fue como que algo que mucha gente recién se estuvo acostumbrando. Y a día de hoy hay gente que ni se acostumbra y ni le gusta. Pero el solamente este hecho a mí no me gustó nada. O sea, me gusta toda la temporada. Menos esta parte de acá. Pero yo creo que es algo con lo que nos tendremos que acostumbrar sí o sí.
Epic likes the
Pero
game
a mí me gusta, no, no me gusta.
really,
Es
really extra
horrible.
to promote how good their engine
No
is.
sé,
But
está
once you got
raro.
into the game, that's where the problems arose. This is not just a visual change. You don't just look like you're moving different, you are moving entirely differently. So obviously the changes to movement aren't a bug. They were intended, but were they intended to be exactly how they are now? Is this the movement we were supposed to have? It turns out, yes. We had an Epic Games employee, again, if you've been on Twitter, you probably
Eso
saw this
también,
come
eso lo
out.
puedo explicar ahorita también. Eso es algo feo y algo que se repite mucho en la comunidad de Fortnite, que es, por ejemplo, que el desarrollador del movimiento, para los que no lo conocen, acá puse, estoy muy emocionado de compartir las experiencias de que estuve trabajando con mi equipo el año pasado. Mi equipo estamos encargados de las, digamos que las animaciones o todo lo que tenga que ver con el movimiento de los personajes. Y básicamente él lo posteó como un me siento orgulloso de mi trabajo y espero que a la gente le guste, pero ¿cuál es el problema? Que creo que como que a muchas personas no le gustó mucho lo que hizo y le mandaron amenazas de muerte, le mandaron hate y creo que es algo con lo que el Fortnite tiene que lidiar un poco más duro porque es un público menor, es un público donde hay muchos niños, muchos que se emocionan con eso, muchos que se enojan con eso y ya. ¿Qué pasa, Pucho? ¿Cómo estás?
Very proud of what him and his
Ahorita
team
estamos viendo un
worked on,
videito.
improving the movement and working on this over the last year. In the comments, he got absolutely
Puta,
roasted
sí.
to the point where
Los
he actually
comentarios son bien feos, ¿ah? Los comentarios son
turned the
bien feos,
comments
es muy
off. A
cierto.
lot of people weighing in saying your warrant was intentional. Whether you love it or whether you hate it, it looks like this is how the movement is meant to be in the game. And normally, Epic doesn't go back on this stuff. They only ever go back on
Sí, es
changes like
cierto.
this if it is just a unanimous, the entire community absolutely hates it. And trust me, there is a lot of people out there who hate this right now. This is definitely up there with, like, you know, removing Cypher.
Yo creo que solamente he conocido una sola persona que le ha gustado. Una nomás. Que se vino a mi directo y me dijo, a mí sí me gusta. Todos los demás lo odiaron. Pero sí, hay casos como por ejemplo en el que, no sé si recuerdan que esto pasó con el turbo building. Hace tiempazo pasó eso con lo de los gliders. Con el turbo building, para los que no se acuerdan, hubo una vez en los que los de Epic trataron de nerfear el turbo building agregándole, o sea, ya estaba el turbo building, que es el que le das mantiene ese clic y se construye automático todo. Ya pues, creo que le reducieron la velocidad de las que se podían poner las construcciones nefasto. Eso no duró ni un día, man. No duró ni un día, creo que no duró ni 12 horas. La otra cosa, una temporada donde tú le dabas, había algo que le podías, o sea, dar doble espacio y salía el glider automático. Nefasto también. O sea, son cambios que cambian demasiado el meta, son cosas muy incómodas. O sea, es como que los pilares básicos del Fortnite los alteran y a la gente no le termina convenciendo muchas veces.
Or even removing turbo building for how
Y
many
el
people are
sifón,
annoyed about
mano.
it. But I specifically mentioned them removing turbo building because that was hated so badly that Epic
Sí.
did actually revert it. So they have in the past made changes.
Incluso con la cosa del turbo building hubo gente que en serio estaban macreando, o sea, y construían con la rueda del mouse. Me acuerdo que ese tiempazo era así. Hubo gente que o sea, te enseñaba a construir con la rueda del mouse, tienes que tener un macro rarísimo
Just
para
to go
hacer eso.
back to old things because people absolutely hated a change they've made. However, this is a little bit more different. When they reverted changes like the changes to turbo building, all it was just a setting in the game and people didn't like it. It wasn't actually something built into the engine. I keep mentioning the engine. In case you're confused, that is basically what runs Fortnite. And the reason why it's so important is because it is an ad. Epic Games have made Unreal Engine 5, so as much as Fortnite itself is an ad when they do big collaborations like the Family Guy one or Eminem, makes a bunch of money, but Fortnite itself is actually a demonstration of how good Unreal Engine 5 is, so that other game developers want to pay Epic Games to use it to make their own games. That is why Epic adds all these crazy mechanics and are really always trying to push the limits of what you can do in Fortnite, because it makes it look better for those people wanting to pay them lots of money. We're talking ridiculous amounts of money to use their engine. So this
No sabía
is
eso.
obviously built into that. This isn't just like them changing a setting, it is them trying to show off how good Unreal Engine 5 is. Obviously, a lot of you guys out there really don't like the movement. I totally get it. I'm very frustrated with it myself. Every time I try and build battle someone, I just can't side jump. I can't do a lot of the maneuvers I've worked on. But hear me out. If they were to throw this movement into a game that people haven't played before, people would like it. It looks kind of cool. You know, there's a lot of aspects of it that I understand why they're doing. It looks more natural. It is honestly really cool. The problem is it's obviously changed a lot of that muscle memory, and it's really affected people who have spent a lot of time playing Fortnite. So I'm just trying to get you to see both sides of why Epic might not revert this, even if a lot of people don't like it, because it's showing off the capabilities and showing off the improvements to Unreal Engine 5. You do also need to remember the majority of players who are hyper casuals probably won't really notice. If anything, they think it'll look cool and feel cool. If you're playing no build specifically, or again, you just don't have a lot of that muscle memory built up of doing crazy side jumps and high ground retakes, you won't notice it as badly. Obviously, some casuals do. It does feel like you're constantly running slower, but also at the same time, it constantly feels like you're running faster. It's kind of weird. You can sprint more
esa
often.
rarísima.
When I'm sprinting and ducking and moving around through builds and stuff, I feel like I'm moving at the speed of light. But then I just try to, you know, run up a ramp and then do a side jump, and I feel like my feet are just covered in mud. I don't really get it. It is really confusing. Obviously, this is then compounded and made worse by the fact that a lot of people are running different double movement softwares to change the way the movement works. So I think, you know, the connection between these two is causing even more issues. So hopefully Epic can make some changes around that. We already have creators like ReZhub coming out with different settings that can optimize the movement.
Eso no sirve por si acaso. Es muy... no hace mucha diferencia, la realidad es esa.
Within these double movement settings to try to make it better. So there is the potential that it can definitely get better without Epic just completely reverting it by making changes to double movement and other things within the game.
Es rarísimo.
Still able to show off Unreal Engine 5. I do have to say, we have had creators like Micro20 do deep dives and jump into Fortnite and actually test whether it is faster or slower. And yes, the new movement is slower in a straight line if you're running, but a lot of those changes I talked about with sprinting and the straight turn really quickly kind of, you know, could be pros or cons of that, but it is a little bit slower, just not as much slower as what it feels. I know it feels like you're moving so ridiculously slow right now, and I mean, if you crash, but for the most part, if you're just running in a straight line, it's actually not that much slower. It just looks like it is. Before people come out and say that it is the exact same speed like Epic mentioned, it actually isn't. They did make a statement when talking about the differences between certain creative experiences and the in-game settings that it is actually slower. They said that islands will use the new movement visuals, but will keep the movement speed from before version 28.00. So they know it is different in some way, whether it's only slower in certain angles, whether you're sprinting versus not sprinting, it is a different speed. It is not the exact same, just with an animation change like some people are trying to argue. I will say this is a unique opportunity for some of you guys out there to get a leg up on players if you have been a little bit behind, or you are a good player and you want to be even better. There are some really cool combinations with the movement you can do. There are some changes that could actually increase the skill gap as well. It's not all just doom and gloom. There are new abilities you can do where you sprint and jump, and you can now turn faster in the air. So I know there's gonna be people who come up with some crazy building routines with these. I know it's frustrating. I get it. Losing a lot of muscle memory and a lot of maneuvers you've worked on, it's happening to me as well. But I am really enjoying Chapter 5 for the most part. I might make another video in the next few days talking about the pros and cons and different tips and tricks I can give you on Chapter 5, because I am actually really enjoying it, and I'm getting more wins and playing far better than I have before. So even though I'm running into those frustrations with certain things with hype building, I am adapting my playstyle and still finding a lot of success. There is a chance Epic will still revert these changes in the past. They could just just completely wipe it clear, there are a lot of people very, very upset, especially in the competitive scene with tournaments right around the corner. But at this point, with tournaments starting in a few days,
No va
I
a
would say
cambiar.
if you are just trying to
No va a
not
cambiar.
learn the new movement whatsoever, you're trying to just pretend it doesn't exist, you are probably going to have to jump on and start trying to give it a good go, because I don't know if they are going to change it.
Ya, yo sinceramente pienso que no van a cambiarlo. No creo que lo cambien. Porque a diferencia de los demás, si el buen sniper, el final del sniper estuvo chévere. Yo creo que con respecto al movimiento que pienso yo, es horripilante, a mí no me gusta nada, pero entiendo la perspectiva que da Ozzy, ¿ya? La perspectiva ahora la entiendo un poco más. Ahora la entiendo muchísimo más de por qué no lo cambiarían. Y es simplemente por el hecho de vender más. O sea, Fortnite es como una forma en la que ellos agarran y venden su motor gráfico. Y por eso como que le meten más y más cosas. No entendí esa parte, ahora sí la entendí y ahora me caben muchas cosas en la cabeza. Y otro punto bastante bueno que hice es que la realidad es que la mayoría de personas que juegan el juego son de manera casual, ni se van a dar cuenta de eso. Porque lo juegan así como que lo jugarán y dirán, ah, hay algo raro que pasa, ¿no? Pero como que no les incomodará mucho. Los que más les incomoda son la gente que más tiempo tiene en el juego, más mecánicas ha perfeccionado, más cosas ha hecho. Y si lo cambian, tendría que ser una alianza entre toda la comunidad, tanto casuales como gente que le mete compe o gente que juega ranked sin meterle torneos, y que se una todo y pucha, pasa un milagro. Pero yo no creo que cambien el movimiento, yo creo que será un momento en el que la gente tiene que agarrar y aprender a adaptarse al meta, como siempre lo fue alguna vez. Como fue adaptarse a las escopetas, como fue adaptarse al meta del subfusil, como fue empezar a jugar no tanto con doble pump, empezar a hacer, en vez de build fight, más boxes. O sea, va a ser un meta distinto, va a estar bien curioso, porque encima para torneos creo que no va a haber shockwaves. Y nada más. Suscríbanse, dejen like.